Another series victory. Sean Manaea dominance. How you doing, Mets fans? It's your guy Wardy, and we're back as the Metsies take down the Minnesota Twins by a final score of 2-0. In today's show, we're gonna break down everything that transpired in this masterclass of an outing from the Mets veteran southpaw Sean Manaea, just comfortably, casually giving the Mets the best start we've seen from Sean yet this season. The Mets have taken down the Twins, which looks completely different from a Minnesota Twins team that's been having a very strong summer. Royce Lewis, Byron Buxton, who? And I love Byron, you guys know I do if you're OGs on the channel. The Mets continue to get the job done on trade deadline day as we were live for 2+ hours. Don't worry, I got that stream all nice jam-packed in less than a half hour for you guys after it was edited. Check it out if you haven't already, as we broke down all the latest news in Mets land as they've acquired Huascar Brazoban. We saw Paul Blackburn and Tyler Zuber. I'm going to butcher the name. I apologize. We're going to get into more on that. The latest updates in Mets land. Per usual, we're going to go over the ball game and we're going to go over Sean Manaea's brilliance, everybody. But if you're watching live on a replay, spam those W's in the live chat right now. That is what I want to see from each and every one of you. A fantastic outing from Sean Manaea, which is without question the standout in today's breakdown. We're going to get into the highlights, as you guys and gals will see right here. We're going to get into the pitching and why Sean Manaea has quite literally saved my life. We're also going to get into the hitting end. While the Mets did not have much, there is one man that reigns supreme on the offensive end by the name of Mark Vientos, who was replaced with Jose Iglesias for defense later in the ball game. However, Mark Vientos, what he did today was an awesome thing, and it was with David Wright in attendance. We're going to talk about passing the torch from one third baseman to the next and what Mark Vientos has done so brilliantly for the Mets this season. Everybody, continue to let me know your initial reactions as you chime in, folks. You're gonna hate it. We are absolutely gonna roll with the song GSU, so if you want to leave and come back in, by all means do it. But guys and gals, you know the drill. We got a lot to get into. It's been a wild one in Mets land. David Stern's main moves, we're gonna talk more about it, and we're gonna talk about this Metropolitan victory, but continue to spam those W's live in the chat right now. To my replay viewers, if you're watching this live, of course, or in the replay rather, drop in the comments down below. Let me know your initial reaction from this 2-0 series victory here over the Minnesota Twins, headlined by a masterclass 11 strikeout outing from, yes, the Samoan himself and Sean Manaea. We're going to go over it all as we typically do. Steve with the $5 haul says, nice to see the Mets have a masterful pitching performance and not have to put up 4+ runs to win it. Yep, you said it perfectly, Steve. Great member. Thank you for the donation. Ronnie Rich with the $2 haul, great member, says, Twin W's, 11 Ks for Manaea. LFGM, baby. LFGM indeed. Let's get those W's rolling. Let's get the hype continued. The Mets match a season best 7 games above 500, still right in the thick of things of the wild card, and they are not done yet. The best has yet to come from this Metropolitan team this season. I'm loving what I'm seeing. Folks, as always, let's let it rip as we always do with the WardyNYM post-game jingle. Shout out to Greg and Jordan with the official WardyNYM post-game jingle as always. Thank you guys so much. Scott with the $5 haul says, Stearns is such a smart GM, playing the long game, not giving up the farm for rentals. That said, any idea what starter we go for in the offseason? There's a lot of starters available in the offseason, headlined by guys like Corbin Burns and Max Fried. We will cross that bridge once we get there, my friend, but I greatly appreciate the donation. Right now, I really just want to focus on what's in front of us and not the offseason right now, if I'm being frank, and I think we should feel the same way, Scott. I appreciate the donation, though. Thank you so much. AZ with the $5 haul says, a pitching masterclass from Sean Manaea. Mets W. Put in the books, baby. Put in the books, indeed. And I'm going to make sure that the jingle is turned off so it doesn't run like 1,000 times in the show, the way that it apparently did yesterday without my knowledge or of even realizing. We're almost at 50 likes. Thank you all so much for that. Everyone first chiming in live on a replay as we're breaking down the latest in Mets land as the Metsies take down the Minnesota Twins with ease by a final score of 2-0. Frank Sessa, great member. You get a membership. You get a membership. If you guys have not been following along on the past 24 hours, a boatload of normal subscribers have been gifted channel memberships from amazing members here on the channel. So thank you all so much to each and every one of you that went out your way to do that. That not only helps impact the channel greatly and myself, but it just is awesome to see the community grow the way it is right now. Frank, thank you so much for gifting Alex Flores a membership. And Alex, congratulations. Welcome to the WardyNYM member community. Appreciate you turning the jingle off. You're welcome, GSU. You're welcome. I appreciate you chiming in, no less. Same way I appreciate the Metsies getting the job done in a series victory. And we saw the Mets roll as much as they did yesterday. Normally what happens after a slaughter of a ball game where the Mets dominated 15-1 yesterday, normally in those situations, you're going to get a clunker the next day, right? The offense isn't going to be as consistent. And even with a lack of offense that we saw from both the Mets and the Twins today, they won a tight pitching masterclass of a ball game between Sean Manaea's brilliance and Edwin Diaz coming in for not the one, not the two, not the three, but the four. His first 4-out save of the season. Vibes are riding high in Mets land, and I'm beyond excited to break it down for each and every one of you. But I want to know the initial reactions to not only today's game, but also, everybody, it's marinated for you a little bit. If you were following along in our trade deadline coverage earlier, you probably have some choice opinions and some thoughts about the new Mets acquisitions, headlined by that flame-throwing right-hander that I cannot believe David Stearns got for what he got. For a 22nd ranked prospect in the organization, the Mets got a true setup option should they wish to go to him, that being in we saw in Brazabon, who's a flamethrower that touches 99 on the gun and has a ERA sub-3 and expected ERA of 2.4 something this season, a 10K per nine with 3 walks per nine, the best walk rate of his career, has multiple years of control, isn't a free agent until the 2028 or 2029 offseason. How can you go wrong there if you're the Mets for what they gave up? We just saw the Phillies give up an arm and a leg for Carlos Estevez, and I bet we're going to see Oscar Brazoban have himself some outings very similar to Carlos Estevez, if not better. Yes, I'm willing to go out of my way to say exactly that. Look at the Savant page. It's nasty. He is gorgeous, and I am currently in love. Now let's talk about Paul Blackburn real quick, right? Want to know how you guys feel about him? Simply put, that is your Tyler McGill replacement in this rotation immediately right now, with higher upside and a guy that has had MLB success over the past couple years, trying to stay healthy, coming back from a stress fracture in his foot earlier this year, has only started in not even 10 games this year. David Stearns spoke highly of him on his ability to pound the zone and induce those softball groundouts. So again, basically what we're getting in Blackburn is what we thought we were getting in Adrian Hauser, and it simply never worked out. And then you bring in Tyler Zuber. This story is crazy. The guy was literally playing for the Long Island Ducks at the start of the season, and independent ball, he gets picked up by the Rays because the Rays are like, dude, you're throwing 98 and he got a nice cutter and super. Let's bring you in. Throws a couple innings with the Rays. Looks great. The Mets pick him up. They trade for him, and they're like, you know what? Let's bring him on over. Let's see what happens, right? An electric arm that doesn't have a lot of success at the MLB level refined his game quite a bit. I'm excited to see what kind of opportunity, if anything, Tyler Zuber gets in this bullpen before the end of the season, and rest assured he will. That's why David Stearns would have his way to trade for him. And we do have some health updates that I want to share with each and every one of you in a second. Dave, thank you so much for the $2 holla. Dave says Pete's 3 strikeouts and bad throw that almost killed Stack. Yep, Pete Alonso did everything in his power to become a problem for the Mets today, but I would give him the benefit of the doubt. Alonso's been swinging the bat much better the past couple days, and defensively, while he quite literally almost ended Stanek's season, literally with the way he threw it and the way Stanek fell, was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, but thankfully he didn't bite the Mets in the butt too much in the end here, right? So we're going to break it all down. Cade Morris doesn't count as selling. It absolutely does. Oh, wait, no, never mind, Elgud. I understand what you're saying now. I digress. We're done with the selling nonsense. I know. If the Mets did decide to sell any starting pitching, they would have gone a premium package back. But look, this Mets team has been one of the best in baseball, if not the best, the past 2 months. They have warranted going on a run and staying with this group. They deserve it, and they should be rewarded for their success, and they're being rewarded exactly that by David Stearns, by keeping everyone here while adding to the areas of need you needed. From Jesse Winker to corner outfield /DH, a lefty bat that is a huge vibes guy, who I will say Winker did have a hit today, but it was a little bit of a rally killer. Did end the inning multiple times with runner in scoring position, I believe, which is not Jesse Winker-esque. Mind you, Jesse usually is very good. 2-out situations, high leverage situations, guys on base. A little slow start to his Mets tenure, but hey, at least he's had a couple base knocks to kick off the Metropolitan tenure, right? But we got a lot to get into in this one. 17-9 this month is nothing to scoff at whatsoever for the Metsies, and they're going to try to make it a total of 18-9, doubling once again their wins from losses, just like what we saw happen in the month of June. Great stuff there. Mark Vientos, 25 home runs this year. I don't want to get too crazy, but all I'll say is Mark Vientos is absolutely getting at least 20 this year. He's 5 away right now. 15th bomb that he ripped this season that we saw. Lots of love there that we're seeing with Mark Vientos, and lots of love just in Mets land with the way that they have been rolling. But I do have a couple updates that I want to share with each and every one of you. So let's get into exactly those. Then after we do the updates, we will then break down this ball game inning by inning as we always do. It's just a couple, not a lot of crazy ones. We saw Grant Hartwig did start a rehab assignment in Port St. Lucie today, and he pitched a scoreless outing in doing so. We also see Danil Nunez, who is still trying to work back from his right forearm strain. Hasn't started throwing yet, but hopes to later this week. Nunez, who's been nails for the Mets in their bullpen, we cannot wait to see him back, to say the least. He's going to be fantastic. And the last update that I have for you all, I know there was at least one more thing. Let me see if I can find it. If not, no worries. Thought I had it earlier. Maybe I was overthinking it. I mean, this is just some context, if you will. I know not everyone likes baseball trade values. If you guys don't know baseball trade values, it is a website that you can utilize to really try to figure out potential trades, especially value-wise. And how their value metrics works doesn't always go in hand with actual trades at the major league level, but there are trades where it does go directly in hand sometimes. And crazy enough, the Mets today came out as the most obnoxious winners when they acquired Huascar Brazoban from the Miami Marlins, because the asset that they gave up in Wilfredo Lara, wishing him the absolute best of the Marlins. Just don't be good with the Marlins, please, honestly. At least not with them while the Mets are relevant and a thing. The deal is barely accepted by our model, but as a major underpay by New York. So simply saying, what the Mets were able to do with their final acquisition today to land the flamethrowing right-hander was without question one of the most lopsided trades that we have seen, to a lesser degree, at this year's trade deadline, right? We also, Yusei Kikuchi, get an absolute haul the Houston Astros did with the Toronto Blue Jays. Ridiculous. We saw Trevor Rogers, I broke down actually in Bleacher Report Live today. Mets were interested in Rogers. He got dealt to the Orioles. The Orioles gave up Connor Norby and Kyle Stowers. Like, are you kidding me? Like, actually? Then Jack Flaherty, even though he's a rental, only one top prospect from the Dodgers is dealt. Like, it doesn't make any sense. These trades have been up and down. The Padres gave up their entire farm for Tanner Scott there, and also that being in Jason Adams, or Adam, however you pronounce his last name. They do still have Ethan Salas and their other top prospect, but they gave up so much in a win-now stage. The Pirates added, the D-backs added, everyone that is in the wild card race got better today for the most part, and that's not a good thing for us Mets fans. I want to make sure we crack playoffs, but at least what is a good thing is that this is not wavering the Mets from continuing their winning success, especially against the Minnesota Twins here, who again have been playing some pretty good baseball this summer, to say the least. Along with the Mets, the Twins have had the best offense in baseball, especially throughout the month of June that we saw, especially in the early goings of July. They were rolling, and the Mets just took care of them, and throughout the first two games, like they were just easy peasy, lemon squeezy, like it was nothing. So with that being said, everybody, we got the wordplay going. Am I warmed up? Are you warmed up, Eric? Let's lock in and let's break down this ball game. This will be a quick hitter of a breakdown. You know, we're going to get into everything. I'll have a minor league update for you guys before the end of the live show, which is why Rebecca, who's a great member, is going to remind me, just like she typically does. Thank you for that, Rebecca. Make sure to remind me after I do our breakdown on the pitching end, as I have a lot to say on Sean Manaea, and so does my buddy Isaac Rothman, our nightly pitching contributor on the channel. He's got a lot of information on Sean Manaea and his brilliance tonight, and not just, oh, the guy had a nice fastball, and that was it. Oh, we got a nice slider, that was it. No, we're actually going to get into the key details on Sean Manaea's masterclass of an outing, carving up these Twins batters. 7 shutty, 2 hits, 0 walk, 1 walk, 0 earned run, 11 strikeouts on the day for Sean. That is Big D swinging if I've ever seen it, and I'm ready to break down this ball game, because we had Sean Manaea on the bump tonight against the Minnesota Twins facing Festa, and Festa, you know, had some early success against the Mets in this one. They didn't have a lot of offense, but thankfully it wouldn't matter all that much. And let's get into this one, because again, in the start of the ball game, mind you, this is with Royce Lewis in the lineup, Byron Buxton, some big boppers. Royce is fantastic when he can stay healthy, and the Mets attacked Royce Lewis so much throughout the first 2 games, they made him look silly. Just, again, cannot say enough great things on the Mets' entire approach throughout this ball game and throughout the first 2 games that we've seen against Minnesota. But we see outside of a Royce Lewis walk, funny enough, I'm talking about attacking him, and he had the first guy on base today. But that's all she wrote, though, because then as we got to the bottom of the first, nothing with the Metsies. Top of the second, quick 1-2-3 inning of work there for Sean Manaea. Then we see the Metsies get their first hit thanks to Jesse Winks with his second hit as a Met, his second in the past 24 hours. Mark Vientos Vientos sadly grounds into a double play to end the inning. And when we talk about Mark Vientos here, mind you, again, David Wright at attendance at Citi Field today. Love to see that, him with his kiddos. He spoke to Steve Gelbs today and said how much he loved the moves that David Stearns made. David keeping the entire farm while still adding all the immediate areas of need. Obviously, not the sexiest names, not the flashiest names, but certainly effective players that'll make this Mets team better than what they were a day before. So shout out to David. It was great to see him there. It was even better to see Mark Vientos have the game he had as one third baseman to another there for David to see with his very eyes. That was pretty damn cool. Very exciting that we're going to get into in a second. But Brooks Lee did get a single that we saw to kick off the third inning. Thankfully, nothing else happens. You know, he stole a bag, but thankfully a Byron Buxton strikeout, his first of, I want to say 4 on the day. Yes, Byron had a terrible day at the plate, sadly. So did the Mets. They didn't have a lot going. They went down 1-2-3 in the third. If you're wondering, where is Francisco Alvarez? Where is El Troll? Don't worry, everybody. Alvy is going to be okay, but the reason why Alvarez has been slumping so hard post All-Star break, the reason why he hasn't played much lately is because he's dealing with a nagging shoulder that the Mets just want to make sure he gets fully healed up before he's back out there catching and batting. And again, if we're winning ball games, I love you, Alvy. I want you in the lineup, but by all means, we just want you healthy so you can be as effective as possible. And you know what's amazing? The fact that all it took was $100,000 of salary for David Stearns to obtain to acquire the best backup catcher in Major League Baseball in Luis Torrens. Thank you, Yankees, for the fleece job. We will gladly take it. That is what we call a Stearns masterclass and not a disaster class, i.e. Billy Upward. Okay, now as we get into this one, with 2 outs, Carlos Santana, again, aging like a fine wine. The fact that this man is not only still in the league, but still a productive hitter is just mind-boggling to me. Santana has been getting the job done for what feels like at least the past 15 years. He rips a single. Thankfully, that's all she wrote. Willie Castro grounds out to end the inning. As we then head to the bottom of the fourth, the Mets get on with a walk thanks to Brandon Nimmo. Brandon Nimmo entered tonight's game in the top 4 in all of the National League, at least in walks this season, which we love to see. If not all of MLB, it's one of the two. You know the drill there. JD Martinez comes in, and we see JD while he's batting. Nimmo gets to second base, thankfully, because the Schmuck Festa had a walk. And thankfully, because of that balk, the Mets took advantage. I know I said walk first. Don't correct me. Okay, I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. Let's talk about the balk here for a second. We saw a wild pitch then allow Nimmo go, again, first to second on the balk, second to third on the wild pitch. The Mets got to score here, right? It's only 1 out. My silly self think it's 2 outs for a second because I've been all over the place with the deadline day. JD Martinez goes opposite field and drives the run in. Perfect hitting from the hitting savant himself, and the surefire, soon-to-be Hall of Famer once he retires, JD Martinez gives the Mets a 1-0 lead. Nothing else happens as Alonso and Winker would be out to end the inning. We would see then in the 5th a clean 1-2-3 inning of work, which is all but surprising for Sean Manaea and the Mets. Then as we get to the bottom of the 5th, Marky V rips a Swaggy Vientos 15th home run of the year to left. Mets take a 2-0 lead. Mark Vientos continues his towering play as not only a beyond fantastic slugger in this lineup right now, but also a guy that at minimum has been able to handle his own at the hot corner and not be a complete detriment to the Mets with the lack of defensive upside that Vientos has at times. Shout out to Mark. Great game for Vientos. 15th bomb of the year in a limited sample size. He's on pace to have 20 plus this season. Sign me the hell up. We see A-Flow Alex with the $10 holla. Thank you so much, Alex. First donation here, my man. Really appreciate that. He says, yo, Wardy, think we getting any arms during August waiver wire? Good question. It was cool seeing and talking to you before the game Thursday at our section. Next time, drinks on me. Oh, I appreciate that a lot, Alex. It was a pleasure meeting you again, too, my man. It was so much fun at Citi Field on Thursday. Cannot wait to go back. You have no idea how pumped up I am to hit games this month of August, guys. We're juiced up. We're rocking. We're living. We're going to have fun. And next time, I appreciate the offer on the drink, my man, but we'll definitely make sure that happens. Absolutely. It was awesome to see you. It was awesome to see. I interacted with so many Mets fans when I was at the game Thursday. I actually think it was a record for the most amount of people that I interacted with that knew who I was at Citi Field, which was really, really cool. A lot of people came up to me as I was walking around, even while I was in my section, and especially as I was exiting Citi Field, just got swarmed as we were doing the live show. So again, thank you for the donation, my man. And to answer your question, I do think the Mets will be active on the waiver wire front, as they always will, because there's going to be a lot of ever-changing things still happening with the bullpen, as they have a lot of tough decisions to make. And right now, with the bullpen depth the Mets have, it has boxed out a guy in Adam Ottavino. And I'm really curious to see what the Mets are going to do there, because literally, if Adam has like one more bad outing, they're going to be like, bye. because we literally do not need him as long as the guys that we currently have, especially our newer acquisitions, get the job done and do what they're supposed to do. James, thank you so much for being here. As always, I appreciate that. Love you too, my man. Remember he said drinks and food are on him. Yep, I heard that. And again, I appreciate that a lot. Let's see here. Do you think the Mets will bring up Beatty when they expand the rosters? Good question. Obviously, as we know, the roster expansion isn't anything crazy when that happens. It's not as big as it used to be a couple years ago. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely see Beatty as a guy that they'll consider to be called up in that situation. I mean, why wouldn't they, right? When you think of the most MLB-ready hitters in AAA for the Mets right now, Beatty's towards the top of the list. And I think Beatty, honestly, in like a limited pinch hit sample size, might just be, you know, the recipe for him to maybe get on a roll, right? If you bring him in with the expanded roster towards the end of the season, and then he rolls, say, as a nice pinch hit bomb, coming out of the, whatever you want to go. I mean, I'm not opposed to that. Sign me up. But again, if you have to pick between Beatty and pitching, then obviously I want pitching. But if it's one of those things where you have both, like one and the other, then okay, not opposed to that whatsoever. No less, what I'm also not opposed to is the Mets winning series, as they did tonight, by a final score of 2-0. And we see Mark Vientos, again, 15th home run this season for Swaggy V. McNeil then gets on with a hit by pitch, and then that's all she does it for the inning. We get to the 6th, easy 1-2-3 inning to work. Wait, you thought it was going to be hard for Sean? Farthest thing from the truth. Easy 1-2-3 with a pair of strikeouts, including back-to-back Ks on Byron Buxton and Royce Lewis. If that isn't Bulldog, I don't know what is. Just insane stuff that we've seen from Sean tonight, who worked his pitches masterfully. Love what I saw. JD Martinez ripped, just funny enough, only his 17th double of the season, but JDM, he's been very up and down this season. We know that. Also started the year like a month plus late, and actually 2+ because he didn't do spring training, and he wasn't like with the Mets at all the first month of the season. And then when he was with the Mets for that first, you know, at least 2.5, 3 weeks, he was cheeks because he was trying to get himself adjusted and everything, like the rest of the team, if not a whole month. But JDM starting to finally turn things on now, which is huge. Jesse Winker sadly grounded out to end the inning there with a runner on, but that's okay. We then get now to the top of the 7th, and in the top of the 7th, we would see Tyrone Taylor come in as a defensive replacement for Jesse Winker, something that you're going to see a lot, especially if the ball game starts with a starter as a right-handed pitcher. Then they bring in a southpaw option for maybe an inning or two. That's going to further warrant those changes, which is brilliantly done by Carlos Mendoza. That's exactly what he should be doing there. Even though I like Jesse to play a full game, I want there to be the best matchups and everyone kind of getting a balance of things, you know, if that makes sense. So with the Mets on the offensive end, they went down in order in the 7th. You know what I just realized, which is actually so insane to me, everybody? And Speed, thank you so much for, oh my goodness, Speed, I cannot thank you enough for saying what you just said, because that was the main update that I meant to mention to you all 20+ minutes ago, and I'm just a terrible human being, and I forgot to mention it to you, but I will now. Starling Marte, everybody, right knee bone bruise, said he hopes to start a rehab assignment as soon as next week. Yes, Starling Marte is ramping up that quick, everybody. Lock in. He will hopefully begin his rehab next week, and then we can really get rolling here. Love to see that. Hey, Wardy, is trade deadline still going on? No, it ended at 6 p.m. Eastern, my man. We covered it all earlier today. Don't worry. I literally have everything you got to know on that front separately. To those in the chat trying to speak in code, you don't know me. Your friends don't know me. What is going on? Comfortably numb in the chat. What are we doing? What are we doing? My goodness. Cracking me up. All right, let's continue to break this down. Brooks Lee got on with a walk for the second time today after we saw Max Kepler reach on a throwing error, a boneheaded throwing error by Pete. I love you, Pete. Mind you, Ryan Stanek comes in after 7 masterful innings from Sean Manaea, which is why I want to know from each and every one of you amazing Mets fans that on a scale of 1 to 10, Sean Manaea, 7 shutty, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, 11 strikeouts. I want to know your grade on a scale of 1 to 10 for Manaea's brilliant outing today. Let me see it in the chat. Spam it in the comments down below. Same applies. Let me see it. And again, thank you so much for doing exactly that. But to get back into this, I did want to emphasize how Ryan Stanek, who was absolute batting practice, his Mets debut that we saw just a day or so ago, now we see Ryan Stanek come out trying to work a quick inning, and he got Max Kepler again, which should have been an easy out at first base, but Alonso's like, let me just lollipop this throw to you as if you're 10 feet tall when you're really not. And Stanek tried his best to reach out, full extension, missed it, and thankfully Stanek was aware enough, cognizant to plant his foot the way he did and properly tumble, because he really could have gotten hurt sliding off first base there. Thankfully, he stayed in the game and would pitch a scoreless inning. So shout out Ryan Stanek, you're not terrible, he got a scoreless outing, baby. It's only up from here. And Max Kepler got on because of that reason. Then we saw Christian Vasquez fly out. Brooks Lee got on with a walk, so 2 on, 1 out. What is he going to do? Well, we see him instead get a fly out on Trevor Larnach, and then a huge final out, not from Ryan Stanek, but from, yes, Edwin Diaz. And I apologize, everybody. Stanek didn't pitch a full inning, but he did not allow a run, which I appreciate, and he got screwed, unfortunately, by Alonso right in the beginning of that inning. But we see Edwin Diaz come in because Carlos Mendoza is like, let's go for the 4-out save. This feels like the night to do it. I don't trust Stanek to keep us in this right now, still with a couple guys on base. So mind you, Edwin Diaz, who has labored this year with inherited runners, has never had a 4-out save this season, took care of it with ease. First, it is a great at-bat against Byron Buxton. Byron works him a little bit. He throws a slider down, and then he gets a slider down and away, and that finally gets Byron to bite for his 4th and final strikeout of the day. And then, as we see from the Metsies, they get a single from Brandon Nimmo, and Nimmo steals now his season-high 10th stolen bag of the year. JDM strikes out right there to end the inning. We then head to the 9th inning, and in the 9th inning, Edwin Diaz shuts the door. He strikes out the brilliant Royce Lewis like it was nothing. He gets a ground out on Jose Miranda like it's another day at the office, and he gets a lineup from Carlos Santana to secure the save like the absolute stud of a closer that he is. The Metsies go on and they win this one again by a final score of, yes, 2-0. Stanek was pissed off. He got taken. Oh, of course he was pissed off. Stanek is absolutely juiced up big time. Like, anytime that there's any emotion related for Stanek, if he's not allowed to get himself out of his jam, he's going to be pissed off about it. And I like that. That's what I want to see. I want to see guys with moxie. I want to see guys with some cojones there when they're on the mound. And Ryan Stanek does that. Unfortunately for Stanek, he's stunk the past month plus, with the Mariners especially. But if we can get Stanek back on a roll here, flamethrower, love the Arsenal, want him really bad in the offseason. Lots of untapped potential there that the Mets can really get the best out of for Stanek, who's had an up-down 2024. Let's see what happens with him. Mind you, again, very important context when we evaluate both Stanek and Maton. Why did the Mets pick them up? And not only because they both have had up and down years to a degree, but also because both of them have fantastic playoff success. Stanek has around a 2.2 career ERA in postseason play over 20 innings. Mind you that this was a lot with the Houston Astros, among others, but a lot of success there. Phil Maton, similar story, lots of success with the Astros both the last season, and he has a sub-1 ERA in postseason play. So again, if you're just wondering, Wardy, why do we got these guys here? What are they going to bring? When I say juiced, ain't nobody see nobody, I don't mean it as in like steroids or anything. I just mean juiced as in like you're juiced up, like you're pumped up, animated, if you will. That's the proper term I'm going for there. But to reel back in for a second, Pat White with the membership. Thank you so much for the membership, Pat. Happy to have you in here, brother. Greatly appreciate that. Let's get some love in the chat for our guy in the chat now. Our newest member, Pat White, thank you so much for being here. But yeah, this is what I just want to reiterate with you all. Just because these guys have had, wishy-washy years a little bit, doesn't mean that they won't find success, especially with the Mets. We know how fickle bullpens are. We know how up and down they can be. And that's exactly why what we saw was absolutely outrageous leading up to the trade deadline with the price points of some of these guys we saw dealt on the reliever end. And furthermore, why it's that much more impressive that David Stearns especially landed Huascar Brazoban on multiple years of control, a flamethrowing right-hander having a fantastic season for nothing more than a 26th ranked MLB pipeline prospect, when Peter Bendix has done a fantastic job getting the best out of all the guys he dealt for the most part. So what was so different about this? I think it was just David Stearns just understanding exactly how to approach this. And I bet David, I know a lot of teams calling on relievers, but I bet David looked at Brazoban and was like, you know what? This is a guy not nearly enough people are talking about right now. Let's go out. Let's target him. He's not a rental either, but I don't care. I want team control, especially. You got Brazoban again until 2028 or 2029. You don't go wrong, because by that point, he's going to be in his late 30s. The guy's 34 already. He's only been in the bigs for his 3rd season now. Interesting story, similar to Tyler Zuber that we talked about earlier in the show, as another guy that actually kickstarted things that got noticed from indie ball. So playing in independent ball, that's what helped jumpstart the Miami Marlins to sign him a couple years ago, and then he's worked from there. And funny enough, they're talking about Brazoban now on the broadcaster in SNY. I see all the notable acquisitions between Blackburn, Winker, Stanek, Maton, Brazoban. I got to be frank, everybody. I know you've asked for my trade deadline grades. If I had to grade the Mets' overall moves, what they were able to do for addressing areas of need, given how expensive this market is, I'm going to give them a solid B. Just a solid B. Not an A or anything like that because, again, obviously these weren't the flashiest names. You have to wonder, could they have done it maybe a little bit better in some areas? You were always going to wonder those things. But for what the Mets were able to do and for what they needed, they pretty much checked off every single box. The only thing that they missed was a proper Kodai Senga replacement. But in David Stearns' defense, Kodai Senga was not a guy that ever needed to be replaced until just over the past week, right? And that was a guy that the Mets rolled all season long without him, without a problem. So they're expecting to kind of do exactly that again, at least until postseason play, where Senga might be able to return. It all depends on the significance of that high-grade strain, and ultimately, how long is it going to take him to not only rest, but then eventually ramp up, as he's now on the 60-day IL. So, yep, I'm going to give them a B on my personal grade out of all those acquisitions. Really curious where you guys would have them, if you have them anywhere. Let me know in the chat. As always, everybody, and I do see a dono, or a comment rather. Sean MD, great member of 11 months. Thank you so much. 10 out of 10 for Sean Manaea with the name of his. I give our deadline a 7.5 out of 10. Love that. Thank you so much for the comment, my man. Happy to have you in here as well, per usual. I agree with Wardy on the grade, and I agree with you, Rebecca. Thank you so much. You guys say B+. Love that. And here's the thing, that final trade made the trade deadline for David Stearns. And Stearns never got Brazelban? No. Are we not giving this a B? We're giving this probably a D+. You know, seriously. Like, I actually, it's a D+, C minus because you got Winker still. You still got a controllable starter beyond the 2024 season in Blackburn. Again, not terrible news by any stretch. Impacts areas of need, which I like. But still, you just have to look at it as a whole. This was a solid turnout and honestly a respectable first trade deadline for David Stearns. It could have been so much worse than what it actually was. And at least they made some moves that not only made sense, but the Mets didn't give up one top prospect. They didn't give up one truly key asset outside of Tyler Stewart with the Jesse Winker trade. So I'd say it was a slam dunk deadline by David Stearns. And while I give them a grade of a B minus there on the trade deadline acquisitions, I give them an A+ on what they gave up to acquire said players. So when it comes to keeping your assets and doing your best to obtain them while still adding, David Stearns, without question, gets a slam dunk on that one. It is so hard to say anything otherwise with the way that he has just brilliantly impacted the Mets and very, savvy little small moves, just always making sure he's not sitting on his hands. That's the difference with David Stearns and previous guys at the helm for the Mets. He is not going to sit back and relax and just let guys be horrendous for months on end without making any course of action. He has made plenty of action. He will continue to do just that. And I appreciate that we have a Pobo that actually understands and is reading the room the way us Mets fans are, because he too himself is a diehard Mets fan and was growing up. So we have a lot to talk about on Sean Manaea's brilliance. I want to get into a little bit on the offensive end, and we're also going to get into everything on the other aspects of the trade deadline as a whole to really break down. But let's see here in the chat. John says, was Tyler Stewart a top 10 prospect? No, not at all. He was far from a top Mets pitching prospect either, even though he's had success, not a top Mets pitching prospect at all. So in comparison to the others, especially headlined by Brandon Sproat, who's now a top 25 prospect in all Major League Baseball and a top 3 to 5 pitching prospect in the game right now. That's how good and how high rising Brandon Sproat is. Sign me up. Shout out to James and Mark at the Mets Stuff Podcast. I know James has been drooling over Brandon since day one, and it's awesome to see, especially more of my prospect huggers out there, like my diehard, more analytically involved Mets fans that love to deep dive prospects and really spend time evaluating them even when they're in college or high school, to then see these guys blossom in the rankings and have success. So shout out to James. What a beauty he is. This keyboard not typing anything. Sorry. It's okay, Mr. Delightful. Great member. Happy to have you in here. Thank you so much for the farm report update too, Rebecca. I appreciate that, everybody. But folks, before we continue to break down the ball game and get into a bit more on the pitching, let's take a quick word from our amazing sponsor and how you guys can get involved with the best MLB fantasy game today before it's too late while the season's still riding high with our great friends at So Rare MLB.
It's heating up this July on So Rare MLB, where the thrill of the chase meets the prospect of big rewards. Lock in and go yard, collecting cards and playing your way to the top. Get things right and you'll be calling your shot at a share of over $225K in total cash prizes and more. Join for free. Build your winning roster, watch your players perform, and improve your strategy each week for a shot at being crowned a champion. Sign up and enter now. July is for baseball.
As always, everybody, shout out So Rare as we have the July chase going on. And even though July is just about to reach end, we are not there yet. So we got to talk about what's going on with the July chase. As you guys, again, if you have been entering your weekly tournaments for the July chase and So Rare MLB, sign up today by clicking that link down below in the description. And that way you can sign up, draft your team, and enter weekly tournaments. But they're going to take your best 3 scores out of your 4 weeks of tournaments entered with the July chase and total them. And whoever comes out on top is winning a pretty penny and a lot of other awesome cash prizes and upgraded card prizes to make your team better than what it currently is, as I did well in my past week of tournaments, and the upgraded cards that I received were one Kevin Gausman and Ronald Blanco, so 2 starting pitching options I can now utilize outside the ones I currently have. And speaking of the July chase, this is a tournament that I have going on at the moment. I got Zach Wheeler, who got his tits lit by the Yankees, so shame on me for thinking that Jazz Chisholm wouldn't quite literally be the Phillies' father. Edwin Diaz, 24, thanks to the huge 4-out save today. Manny Machado, nothing to show for it yet. Gunner with 20 piece, 28 from Naylor, 22 from Brandon. Brandon with a nice day at the plate yesterday and today. I mean, not a lot on the offensive end today, but still stole his 10th bag of the year, and season high will take that. And George Kirby still waiting on that stud in Seattle to make his start too. And speaking of Seattle, I'm going to talk about the Mariners. I'm going to talk about the Astros. I'm going to talk about every major league team in baseball early tomorrow, everybody, in the Bleacher Report app. So check me out there in case you guys haven't already, as I will be live breaking down our post MLB trade deadline division predictions. So now that all the moves are made, who's going to win in each division, we're going to break it down early tomorrow in the BR app that you will find in the MLB news topic section. So make sure you guys are there, excited for it. The same way that you guys got to get involved with So Rare MLB for all your MLB fantasy needs if you haven't already. And once again, shout out So Rare for all you want on the baseball front. Now let's get back into this one, folks, and let's now pivot to the pitching end, because as I mentioned, brilliance from Sean Manaea in this outing tonight. Just a fantastic thing. Oh, and MZ3, thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate that. To everyone that has gotten involved with So Rare or any of the other amazing sponsors we have on the channel, thank you so much. I cannot begin to tell you how much that not only supports what we do here, but it keeps things afloat. So that way, you know, the money's coming in, 1, but 2, we are actually having a structure going so that way I can continue to be as consistent as I am every single day doing this for a living. So again, there are so many reasons as to why I can't thank you all enough. Those are just a few, so thank you again. But let's get into this one now with Sean Manaea against 7 shutty today. And no better man to give me information on Sean Manaea's masterclass of an outing than my man Isaac Rothman, that you guys need to check out, because Isaac had fantastic pitching threads for you all to check out on not only Tyler Zuber, everything you want to know about him, but also on the other Metropolitan pickups. Check him out on Twitter X at ISAACGROFFMAN, as Isaac and I are going to be doing a lot of work together, both on the channel and on socials in the coming days to weeks. So be on the lookout for it all. Very excited. But Sean Manaea, again, 7 innings, brilliant ball, 11 strikeouts. The arsenal tonight was as follows. 40% of it was from that sinker, which sat right around 93 miles per hour and topped out 96. We saw that sweeper that was 24% of his arsenal and topped out, was sitting right around 77. We see the 4-seam, which was 24% of the arsenal, just like the sweeper at 92 miles per hour, topped out 94.5. Changed up just 8% of the arsenal, 86 miles per hour, and we see the slider 2% at 85 miles per hour. This is completely irrelevant, but because my ADD will not allow me to get it out of my head, and I'm tossing it right now. You guys see this baseball right here? You see I'm just playing with it at the moment? This baseball is very special to me. And if you're wondering, Wardy, why is this baseball special to you? It is because this is the only baseball I've ever received at a Major League Baseball game where it wasn't I've never been handed a game. I was never one of those kids that at games when I was younger got a chance to get a baseball or anything like that. It just never happened. But years back, going back, I want to say 2019, I'm in center field with my buddy Jonah, who's a diehard Phillies fan. We're at Citizens Bank Park. We're seeing their pregame batting practice for the Mets before the matchup between the two teams in a day game. Michael Conforto, my favorite Metropolitan at the time, rips a no-doubt third deck shot to right, and BP easily the most towering home run out of any Mets hitter that we saw MVP pregame that day, and I saw no one was over there. So even though I was front row in center field, like dead center field, standing right there, my buddy and I bolted all the way up those stairs to left, and I just edged out another Mets fan to get this baseball. And you guys can still see the markings right there. It might not be easy to see on the camera, but you can still see the markings of where this baseball landed, and then you can also see the markings of where it was hit, which is really, really sick. Mike. So shout out to Mike, even though he's not going to be with the Mets anymore. I will always let Michael Conforto, even if, again, he has a lot of struggles at the MLB level. I will always be a Mike guy. That will never change. But just a little story for you guys. My little Mets story and the one baseball I've received at a baseball game. Yep. All the other baseballs I have are not ones I have obtained myself from a game. They have been gifted me or something along those lines. But Sean Manaea, dominant outing, reeling this back in. A dominant start, generating an incredible, get ready for this, 23 whiffs on his pitches today, Sean Manaea. According to Baseball Savant's run value, Sean Manaea has the best sinker in baseball, and he threw it a lot today at 40%. Disgusting. Love that. We also see that because of Sean Manaea's brilliant outing, how did we get here? It's because Sean is now the only pitcher that throws strikes. Sean, as we noted in the past, Isaac has highlighted this, has the ability to throw his sinker up in the zone. And that's something that very few pitchers have done this season. He's the only guy that consistently throws his sinkers up in the zone, and his low arm slot, they are very hard to hit said pitches. Logic says that throwing his sinker with average velocity high in the zone is a bad idea, but for Sean, he's like, nope, we're going to do it because it's second in the league in sinker whiff rate. It doesn't make sense, nor does it have to make sense. It's working for Sean, and we will gladly take that. And today, it had a 25% whip percentage. Manaea also threw his four seam more than he typically did all year long, and had a 62 whip percentage while getting 8 whiffs on that four-seamer today. Mind you, this is a fastball that has been a meatball for Sean in years past, and today is absolutely a thing of beauty. Mickey, I can understand the little disappointment on Snell, but if it makes you feel any better, the Giants were not selling. After they traded Jorge Soler as a salary dump to the Braves, like the schmucks that they are, just causing me pain and agony for the Braves to get any type of better, then the Giants made one little move today, acquiring Mets legend Mark Canha. I'm sorry, you got a bridge to sell you, Giants. If you think that's going to move the needle and push you in the playoffs, the Giants are more than likely not going to make the wild card, knocking on wood barring changes. And should they not make wild card, it's going to be another joke of a season for them on spending just for the sake of spending in the offseason after swinging and missing on everyone, and then realizing that you made a great mistake by just throwing out money to mid-level players when you're paying them at a premium level. Just stupid shit to do. But again, we know that very well as Mets fans because we've overpaid a lot of people. So I got no right to be a hypocrite, even though I just found myself being one. And going back into this one now, Manaea, talking about him a little bit more. Three breaking pitches, however, are what keeps hitters honest against a sinker and that four seam. Tonight, his sweeper was really working, also had 8 whiffs on it, and it had a 50% whiff rate overall. What is quite unique about Manaea's sweeper is that he throws it with more vertical break and less vertical break to righties, which makes it easier for him to locate in the zone, which is important as well, so he's not, walking everyone their mother with these pitches. But when thrown to lefties, it has more horizontal movement and less vertical movement, which includes more swing and misses of the zone. So he attacks righties and lefties different naturally, but it's really cool to kind of see that thorough breakdown in the sweeper on how that stands out so much. And out of a grade, this is without question a 9 out of 10 outing for Sean Manaea. The only reason why he doesn't get 10 out of 10 is because we got to do the grade scale just like you would do one bite. Everyone knows the rules, right? If you're going to grade anything, you can't go to the top right away because that sets the bar and nothing can beat that. When Sean Manaea can beat this outing by having either a no-no, which he's had in his career before, or a complete game shutout. That is how you best, or just do a better outing than this. 8 shutty, 11 Ks, that would warrant a 9.5 at least, right? So Sean Manaea gets a solid 9 out of 10 for your boy Wardy. My man Isaac feels the exact same way. Stanik's velo has been down in the Mets in his first 2 appearances with the Mets, but he also has been unable to locate that splitter a little bit. So again, Stanik off to a rough start trying to get acclimated with the Mets here, but I will again give him benefit of the doubt. He got absolutely screwed. I think that fluke of a play, a toss, said what by Pete Alonso. If that doesn't happen, Stanik, I think, has more comfortability in that inning and hopefully just gets out of that thing 1, 2, 3. Again, we're never going to know, but what I do know is that the Mets right now are absolutely rolling. 7 games above 500. Sign me the heck up. And on the hitting end, I'm not going to be too long-winded with you, everybody. Again, not a lot to show for it, but we will talk briefly on the Mets offensive stats here because they are as follows, everybody. And again, highly implore you all, if you haven't already, please make sure to check out our trade deadline coverage from earlier today. I went out of my way post live stream and went out of my way to edit everything properly, so that way the stream is not just 2 hours of me waiting for news to happen then breaking it down. No, it's just the good stuff. It's just my initial reactions and thorough breakdowns on each of the 3 pitchers that the Mets acquired today. So again, highly implore you to check that all out. There is a fruit fly that I'm going to slap silly in 2 seconds if it doesn't get the hell out of my face. I swear to God. All right, Mets offense. What do we get from the offense tonight? We see Francisco Lindor 0 for tonight with a strikeout, 254 average, 801 OPS. Brandon Nimmo 1 for 3 with a run scored and a walk, 234 average, 769 OPS. And Nimmo also did record, yes, you heard that correctly, his 10th stolen bag of the year, which is now a season high for him. JD Martinez 2 for 4 with an RBI and a double, 266 average, 790 OPS. Pete Alonso for 3, 244, 793, 3 Ks. Bad day at the plate for you, Pete. Jesse Winker 1 for 3, 259 average, 792 OPS. Tyrone Taylor did not get an at-bat, but a 239 average and a 693 OPS. Mark Vientos thinks his 15th home run of the year is now up to 285 on the average and just under 900 on the OPS. They're at 894 to be exact. Jose Iglesias, who did not get an at-bat because he came as defensive replacement, 342 average, 906 OPS. Jeff McNeil 0 for 2 today. For Jeff, 231 average, 654 OPS. Luis Torrens 0 for 3, 294 average, 862 OPS for the best backup catcher in baseball. And Harrison Bader 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts, 265 average, 710 OPS on the season. When we look at the Metsies here, when we look at this offense, I don't care that they got little to nothing tonight. You want to know why? Because they're rolling and they won a tight ball game. They won a ball game where they had elite pitching and they just hit enough to get the job done. That is a close, tight-knit win, and those are the wins that'll help separate the Mets because, mind you, this is the same Mets team that the first month and a half of the season, they lost a ridiculous amount of games within 1 or 2 runs. A ridiculous amount. If the Mets, again, didn't blow half the saves that they've blown this year, they would be well over 10 games above 500. So if you understand, when you really think about it, this Mets team isn't bad. They were never overly bad. Even when they played their worst, on paper, they've never been overly bad heading into 2024, but they were overly bad in setting the bar and lessening expectations fast, and then going above said expectations out of nowhere, and now kind of fitting right where we were hoping and expecting them to be all season long, above 500, right in the thick of the wild card race. And again, 7 games above 500 right now. Not complaining there. Not complaining whatsoever. And yes, Starling Marte, as I mentioned, will begin a rehab assignment as soon as next week. Hopefully, I just saw another update there from SNY on exactly that. And Alonso disappears in these games, 0 for 3 with 3 Ks. Yep, I'm not shocked by that, sadly. Wow, completely off topic, but Austin Hayes and Jazz Chisholm are having a slugfest right now, folks. It is quite literally like the 2 new acquisitions are trying to fight it out. Which one is going to have the superior game to win the ball game between the Phillies and the Yankees? Mind you, Jazz Chisholm hit 2 home runs yesterday, and the Yanks pistol whipping a Philly because Aaron Judge is just not only a human highlight reel, but Aaron Judge is now reaching a status where it's not only not fair, but it's like Shohei Ohtani, where it's a video game. It doesn't make any sense how good Aaron Judge is. Yet he's just a towering, roughly 7-foot man that destroys baseballs, has an elite eye of his own, and an elite ability to spread the ball to all fields. Insane. But regardless, Jazz Chisholm with 2 home runs. One of them was a Mickey Mouse because it was off of Mets hater and that short schmuck himself. I'm a short schmuck, so I can call him it. And that's Garrett Stubbs. Go after yourself, Garrett. Remember you last postseason where you're like, and as always, F the Mets, baby. We didn't forget that. The same way we didn't forget your ass absolutely driving in to our player. I'm trying to think who exactly it was. Oh yeah, it was Torrens. It was in London when that piece of shit Stubbs slid right into Luis Torrens. Almost hurt the man. So Garrett Stubbs, go after yourself, and I'm glad that Jazz did a little Euro step after hitting a bomb off your ass. And we see Jazz hit another bomb today, but Austin Hayes has been absolutely electric for the Phillies right away. So there's a back and forth going on with the new acquisitions there between the Yanks and the Phillies, and we'll see which one between the two ultimately wins said ball game, right? Philly got runners on second, bottom 11th. Oh, I'd imagine the Phillies are going to win, but we'll find out, right? We'll find out. Tonkin about to blow another one for the Yanks. Hey, shout out to Mike. Nice to see Tonkin going back to his Mets ways, baby. Extra innings. Michael Tonkin, cue the PTSD. If you know, you know. I'm having too much fun here lately. I'm having way too much fun here lately. It's not just the trade deadline. I'm almost like relieved. The trade deadline's done. We can just lock in and focus on the rest of the season now. I'm having so much fun covering this team at the moment. You guys have, it is so nice to ride high when the Mets ride high. I just hate that I fucking lay low the way that the Mets lay low when they don't do well. I wish that I could pick myself up more than I currently can when my favorite teams don't play well. But when they do play well, my goodness, my God, my gracious, I'm glowing. I'm wanting to say hi to my friends. I'm wanting to say, hey, neighbor, outside when I'm normally just an introverted schmuck walking around and not minding my own business, right? Craziness. Absolutely craziness. Let's see. JTB, you're wrong. You're wrong, my man. And hot the bond. I know what you were trying to say there, but no, that's not true. Just feeling good. Just feeling good today. Today's been a fun day. And now, to wrap up the live show, let's get into the farm report, Rebecca. Let's do it together. You and I both, all right? Because the Metsies, they had minor league games going on tonight, and I want to know who's going to be the next big thing in Queens. So let's take a transition here to the Syracuse Mets, and let's see what those boys did tonight, if anything, in their matchups. Wardy would be the Game 4 starter. Who would be the Game 4 starter is a good question. I don't know. It's a good question, though, for sure. Giovanni, we have more than enough. We have, actually, you know what? We're going to just do it. I'm going to show you everybody. As may you know, another awesome sponsor that we have currently on the channel is Via Hemp. This is a plug for them. Again, they're not paying for this or anything like that. This is me going out of my way to do it. If you guys are interested in hemp products, this is for 21 and up especially. Check them out as I broke them down, a thorough ad read in my video on Jake Diekman being DFA'd. So if you go back to that on the channel from yesterday, it has over 8,000 views. Check it out. And they have a boatload of products. And again, as someone who thoroughly enjoys CBD products especially, I cannot tell you all how good these things are. Seriously, please make sure to check them out. And if you guys want to be elevated, if you will, they do have THCA products as well. But for example, this is a CBD one. This is Flow State. This is Focus. I have used this one as well to help me focus during the day for my content. It's actually helped a lot with me grinding my work. And when I want to relax too, it just helps me not be as angst where I get juiced up. A little too juiced up at times when I'm all over the place. But again, if you want something to help calm you down and get a comfortable sleep, then you also have THCA products like this that will help you do exactly that. 5 milligrams of THCA. So again, they are sponsored, but they're not sponsoring this video. That's just me plugging them because I know someone in the comment was asking about them. So there you go regarding that. And then you guys can sign up with my link that is not available under the description of this live show, but is available under the description of the Jesse Winker breakdown that has roughly 3K views on the channel. Not the live stream, but the video that came out the next day and the video that broke down yesterday on Jake Diekman being DFA'd and the Tanner Scott stuff. And yes, Giovanni, yes, I'll let you put 2 and 2 together when it comes to that. Pete is coming out together with Martinez. Again, we just got to hope that both Alonso and JDM get the job done. The same way we got to hope that the Mets minor leaguers got the job done. You know what they did today? Oh, Rebecca's going to be happy. I know she likes Mike Vassell. Mike Vassell had a day today. This was a Mike Vassell that we thought was going to get traded for Jesse Winker a couple days ago. Now Vassell gives the Mets 7 innings of 4-hit, 1 earned run ball, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Bang! Big outing for Vassell, Mets pitching prospect, who's now at a 5.4 ERA this season. Mind you, Vassell was all the way up to like 8+ at one point. He really struggled early on in Syracuse. Like really bad. So it's awesome to see Vassell now turn things on the way that he has. But seriously, shout out to Mike Vassell. Big day for him. We saw Trey McLaughlin work another scoreless outing. We love that there. Eric Orzi worked a scoreless outing too. Shout out to you, Eric. We appreciate you. Luis Angel Acuna had 2 for 5 today with a run scored. 262 average, 666 OPS, so all but holy. We see Drew Gilbert, 2 for 4, baby. We love that, Drew. Sign me up, baby, an RBI and a walk. Drew Gilbert, our Mets top outfield prospect, starting to get in the groove. Finally. Brett Beatty, 1 for 4, 276 average at 904 OPS. Then we see Luke Ritter, big day at second base, 3 for 3 with an RBI, 265 average, 874 OPS. Mike Brousseau, 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs, 280 average, 832 OPS. Jackie Bradley Jr., JBJ, baby, 1 for 5, 222, 666. Don't like that. Sanchez, 2 for 5 with 2 runs scored, and that'll do it for the Syracuse Mets. Let's get into it now with the Rumble Ponies. What did those Rumble Ponies do today? What did they do? Let's find out what they did. Not going to lie, I totally forgot about Ronnie Mauricio. A lot of people totally forgot about Ronnie Mauricio. So you're not alone there. It's easy to forget about a guy that's been not existent all year because he's been out with injury. The Rumble Ponies, oh no! They got cooked. They lost 6-0 today. Not a lot to like from this one. Literally nothing outside of Kevin Parada continuing to stay hot. 1 for 4. Not that a 1 for 4 game is a big deal, but Parada has been swinging the bat much better the past month plus. And nothing really to note on the pitching end there. So now let's transition to the Cyclones. Let's see what happened in Brooklyn today. And with the Brooklyn Cyclones, everybody, it is as follows. Let's look at this real quick. The Cyclones, never mind that did not happen, inclement weather, make up on July 31st. So Cyclones, I assume, have a double header tomorrow because of the bad weather there in Brooklyn. Not in Brooklyn, in Aberdeen. Whatever the weather was in Aberdeen, it wasn't good today for the Cyclones, and that's why the game didn't happen. But the Port St. Lucie Mets, what did they do? What did Colin Houck do? Colin Houck, are you going to be more than a dud of a former top prospect? not a former top prospect. You still are a top prospect in the farm, a first-round draft pick from a year or so ago, but you have been underwhelming as all hell in your first pro year, Houck. Big day for Colin. Let's go, baby. 2 for 2 with a run scored and an RBI. We love to see it. 209 average, 606 OPS, but who cares about the numbers? Colin Houck, love that. Need more of that, Colin. Please, I beg. I absolutely beg, my man. Nothing else notable there on the minor league front, and we saw Grant Hartwig pitch a scoreless inning to kick off this game, as I mentioned earlier, as he begins his ramp-up. I want to be elevated as Eric Orzi's ERA. That's hilarious. That's good. That's good wordplay right there. I like that. Jonathan's a dog. We love Jonathan. Absolutely. Houck is young, Wardy. I know he's young. So am I, Rebecca. What are you trying to say? Pete used to do squats before a big AB, but now he looks like he misses some gym days. I mean, Pete doesn't look out of shape. Pete looks like the same he's always been. Yeah, I mean, that's what I will say. Out of all the comments, out of all the negativity that you could give towards Pete Alonso at times, I just don't understand the weight shit. Dude, he's a power-hitting first baseman. What, you think he's going to be slender? Like, yeah, he has a little bit of a gut, but he's a better athlete than any of us watching or listening out of over 1,000 concurrent viewers. So I don't think we got a right to talk shit on that front, if I'm being quite frank. At least not right now. I liked what I saw from Nate Lavender, as did I. Sadly, he went down for the year with injury, had a reconstructive elbow surgery, basically a newer form of TJ, but hopefully should have a quicker ramp up than the normal Tommy John time it takes for a year plus. Let's see here. And I did want to answer a thing or two before we get out of here, folks. Fans need to chill, man. Alonso is super beast. To watch him wake up, then you will stop murmuring and complaining about him. Of course, I just hope Pete proves us wrong. He's been hot the past couple of games. Today, no one was showing up outside Vientos, so I'm not going to fall him there. The only thing I will fault for Alonso today mostly is that god-awful underhanded toss to Ryan Stanek. That's the biggest criticism he deserves in this game. Not even the 3Ks. It's just that for the most part. It really is. But everybody, that is about going to do it. We're almost at the hour mark, and I am absolutely exhausted. It was a long day of covering the Metsies and Metsland, and I wanted to make sure that I covered everything to achieve for you guys leading up to this point. I hope I did a decent job with it. You guys definitely seem to enjoy everything on the coverage front, from all the latest news, rumor videos, to the live streams, and the 3 acquisitions the Mets made today was a lot of fun to break down. So again, thank you all so much to everyone that took the time to not only donate, to become a new member, to subscribe, to like, or even to just simply watch. And maybe you got out of the stream out of 2 seconds because you can't stand me. No matter who you are, thank you all so much, each and every one of you. The Metsies are riding high, 7 games above 500, baby. Now let's see what's in store for them as they look for the series sweep tomorrow and look for now a season high 8 games above 500 with a sweep against those Twins. Until then, everybody, have a fantastic rest of your day, night, evening, whenever